Hey everybody, welcome to our July Book Club Live. I hope you guys have had a good summer so far. I know I have, and I actually just got back from a weekend away this last weekend, which was really nice. My husband and I celebrated 12 years of marriage, so we got to get away from the kids and everything for a few days, and that was super special. That is Tolkien on the table behind me. So those of you who haven't seen Tolkien Cat in real time yet. That was him. Anyway, he may hop up here at some point, and if he does, I make no promises that this broadcast won't end, because when he gets up here, he hops up on the desk and he tends to run across the keyboard and punch things that he shouldn't. He's a little bit mischievous. So he's also not very happy with me right now because I am in his favorite chair. No surprise there. Anyway, speaking of cats and my weekend away, I wanted to tell you guys about a couple of bookshops that we found in New Orleans. That's where we went for the weekend. And one of them was Beckham's Bookshop, which I don't remember even hearing about before, and it is just the cutest little bookshop. It's all used books on Decatur Street. And I didn't know it was there. We just happened to be walking along Decatur Street and saw a sign that said bookshop. It's like, oh, well, we'll have to go in here. And they have just rows and rows and rows of old used books and even some newer used books. And it was just a wonderful little place to stumble into. But the best surprise was curled up asleep on a box of books, and his name was Juniper. They had a little bookshop cat. And I think that every bookshop should have a cat. And if a bookshop doesn't have a cat, I don't understand why it doesn't. Anyway, he was the cutest cat. He let us pet him, and we found out that he's actually famous. He was on some show. I don't remember all the details of that. But anyway, he even has his own little blog that I don't think they update it very often, but he was super cute. And so that was fun to stumble in there. And then today I was looking up more about the bookshop and discovered the same people own another bookstore not far from that one, but I didn't know about that. So next time I go to New Orleans, I'll have to look for that one. And anyway, we went to another bookshop that I've been to before. It is in a building where William Faulkner actually stayed for a little while he was in New Orleans. So that's a super cute shop as well. New Orleans is full of a lot of really interesting bookstores and shops and different things like that. And of course, a lot of culture, a lot of history, a lot of so many things. So it's a good place to go if you haven't been to New Orleans. It's not all Mardi Gras and beads. There's stuff there all year round. But I would not recommend it in July because it was very hot. And of course, you want to just walk around to all the shops and you want to see everyone and see all the shops and see all the different things that are there, but you don't necessarily want to have to do that in the heat of the summer. So if you come, I recommend coming in November, October, November, somewhere along in there, or maybe in the spring. Of course, the spring you get a lot of rain. So my bet would be for the fall if you're going to make one visit. So anyway, that's a little bit about my weekend and about my plea for cats in all bookshops because I think that they need them. And then today I was going to talk to you guys a little bit. Now, like we do with all of these book club live, if you guys have been reading some good books and you want to recommend them, put some in the comments and we'll talk about those as we go. Or if you're looking for a recommendation, I know sometimes you really want to read a book, but you're not exactly sure what book you want to go for next. Maybe you have a general idea of the kind of book you're looking for. And anyway, so feel free to put in the comments any recommendations you're looking for or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the books that I've read this past month. And I've mentioned both of these books before. But I have actually completed both of them now. So I wanted to give you a little bit more about both of them and talk specifically about something that they have in common. And that is, these are both YA fantasy books, and they are both what we would call clean reads. They're very good reads for adults and teenagers alike. And so I thought I'd talk about that just a little bit. So first of all, we have Finding the Light by Kelsey Atkins. Okay, this is her first of a trilogy, and right now this is the only one that's out, so you'll have to wait a little bit for the second and third books, but I know she is working very hard on them. In fact, I know she's working very hard on the second one, on revising the second one, in fact. So this is a good book that I would recommend. And then the other one, like I said, you guys have seen these before, but now I have finished reading them. Okay, so this is The Beauty Thief by Rachel Ritchie. Okay, and it is also a YA fantasy, the first of a trilogy, and this one, the trilogy is completed. Okay, so why I wanted to talk about both of these together, see if I can get them in here right. It's weird looking at a camera and it being mirror view and all that. Anyway, sometimes it takes me a while on things. A lot of times people are looking for books for their teens or younger kids, and especially for our younger ones, like our junior high age, they are really excited to hop into the YA, young adult category. Unfortunately, a lot of young adult books are not appropriate for teenagers, and especially not very young teenagers. So the reason that I wanted to really explain that with these two books is these are what we would call clean reads, and these would definitely be appropriate even for some of your younger teenagers. All right, here's the deal. So this is something that I've been thinking about a lot because I do have kids who are getting to that age where pretty soon they're going to start asking me to go into the young adult section. And I'm going to have to use a lot of wisdom with that and helping them find good reads for themselves. First of all, my first thought is I wish there was some sort of app or website or something like that that would give me a good rating and rundown of what every book contains. That would be awesome. That would make things like that easier, especially for us parents who are trying the best we can to help our children and to guide them and to help them make good decisions with what they are looking to read or watch or anything like that. And I know that there are apps that are specifically for movies and TV shows and stuff like that that does stuff like that. I'm not aware of any for books. If there is one and you guys know about it, please let me know. But I'm not aware of anything at the moment. But here's what I wanted to say for you guys who do have kids who love to read and they're, more into this time in their life where they're looking into this genre and they're wanting to read more young adult books or even adult books. I will be more than happy to let you know anything that I can about books that your kids are interested in. If it's not a book that I have read, I may be able to find out some information for you. And you guys can find my email address on my website or anywhere. Just send me a message on here, and I'll be happy to tell you exactly what the deal is with any books. And if, like I said, if I don't know, if I haven't read it, I'll see what I can do to find out. And I will also do my best to steer you in the right direction, because I know that different families view different books in different ways, in different levels, there we go, in different levels of appropriateness and stuff like that. I don't think that's even a word. But anyway, you guys are tracking with me, right? All right, so I know that your family has what you deem appropriate, and what you deem appropriate may be different from a different family. So I can help and guide you with that a little bit more easily one-on-one if you send me a message. So like we let our kids read some books that maybe some other families whose kids are the same age, they may not think that it's appropriate for their kids. every family is different, and that's fine. And also every kid is different. I mean, even within a family, you know, what is okay for one kid to read might be a little too intense or a little too whatever for another kid. Even if you're looking at them reading them at the same age, one may need to wait a couple more years than a sibling did or something like that. So I'll be happy to help with any of that. So that's my little toss out there of what I would love to help you parents with. And also, I did really enjoy these books, and I look forward to reading the rest of the trilogies. And once again, for those of you guys just joining, I've mentioned both of these books before, but I have finished reading them. You can find my reviews on Goodreads. This one is Finding the Light by Kelsey Atkins, first of a trilogy of YA fantasy. Her other two books will be coming soon, I hope. And The Beauty Thief by Rachel Ritchie, and she has her entire trilogy out already. So you can go ahead and buy all three in one fell swoop. So both of those I would highly recommend. All right, and then on the topic of reading, okay, who is up for a summer reading challenge? So those of you guys who follow my Facebook page and have kind of seen the things that I've been posting will know that I have started a summer reading challenge. And I'm super excited about it. I see that Candace just joined us, and Candace actually gets all of the thumbs up for encouraging me to start a group for those of you who are doing our summer reading challenge. And I am so excited that so many of you have gotten really, really excited about doing this challenge. That makes me feel great, and I'm super excited to do it with you guys. So basically, here's what the challenge is. It's gonna run through September 30th, okay? So you got plenty of time. We're gonna push this past your typical end of summer. I don't know, I guess people may consider the end of summer whenever school starts back, which is usually early August now, but this is gonna go through September 30th. Okay, so we've got plenty of time, and at its base, the challenge is to read 3 books. Now, if you can only have time to read 1, that's fine, okay? No big deal. But the challenge itself, the base is 3 books, and the first would be a classic that you've never read before. The second would be a biography. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because Tolkien is jumping around behind me. Tolkien is my cat, for those of you who don't know. The second would be a biography about someone who interests you. The third would be the genre, a genre that you don't typically read, okay? So that would be the base of my challenge. Now, beyond that, for those of you who are a little bit more overachievers, okay, I would give you 2 more book challenges, okay? And the first of those would be to read a book that's on your shelf that you've never read. And I know we all have those, right? Spur of the moment, you buy these books or you find them at a used book sale and you pick them up and you put them on your shelf and they sit there for a long time and you haven't read them. So here's a perfect opportunity to read some of those, or at least one. All right, and then the other extra book challenge would be to find a book that you read when you were a kid that you either really loved or you really hated, and read it again. See if your opinion changes as an adult. Okay, so that is my book challenge in a nutshell. Now, if you happen to read all 5 categories, okay, and you still want more to read, number 1, you're awesome. And number 2, don't worry, I have more challenges waiting in the wings for those of you guys once you get to that point, and I will be happy to share those with you then. So like I said, I've started a group, and if you, it's on my page, okay? So when we get done here, whatever, you can go on my page, you can find the group if you want to join the challenge. And like I promised, there will be prizes for those of you who finish the challenge. And I'll have things for those of you who finish the 3, and then I'll have some extra things for those of you who go on to the extra challenges. Now, I haven't figured out what those will be yet because I'm still kind of figuring all that out. But I promise it'll be good. and I will have that all ready for you by the end of our challenge, September 30th. Okay, so I thought that I would tell you guys a little bit about what I'm planning on reading. And I know in our group, I have posts for each one of the challenges, and you can post under there what books you're reading for each one. And so that way we can kind of have a little bit of conversation with each other about what we're reading and share what we're enjoying, or maybe aren't enjoying so much, either way. And so you can find all that in the group. But I thought, since we're doing the book club live tonight, I'd go ahead and share with you guys some of my plans. So I haven't actually started on my own challenge yet because I've been reading some other books. I've been finishing those up. And I've also been thinking which books I would read for each challenge. I haven't got them all figured out yet, but I do have a few that I'm going to share with you. So for a classic that I've never read, and this is because of my friend Amy Dutch, who has been after me for years to read The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. That is on my classic list. So I'm hoping to probably start off with that one this summer. Now, I will have to say that I did finally read Of Mice and Men a year or two ago, and I'm afraid to say I didn't really enjoy it very much. So I'm hoping I'm going to like this book better by him. I feel awful anytime I say I wasn't so excited. I'm not super excited about a classic that everybody thinks is so great. But anyway, there you have it. I'm being very honest with you. So my plans are to read The Grapes of Wrath. And for my biography, I don't know yet what the book will be, or who the person will be, but I know that I want to read a biography about an author. Okay, so if any of you guys have any recommendations, I know I read a biography about Beatrix Potter a few years ago, and I really, really enjoyed that one. I can't remember the name of it. It may just be her name. I don't really remember. I'd have to look it up, but that was a really, really good one. So biography, I definitely want to read about an author. And a genre that I've never read, or that I don't usually read. All right, here's the thing. I'm not really sure that there's any genre that I don't necessarily or have never read. Let me put it that way. Well, there are some, but we're not going to talk about those. But thrillers are something that I haven't read for a while, and they're something that I have been wanting to read more of. Okay, so I got a great list of thriller recommendations from my writer mom friend, Christy Decker. In fact, she shared it here on the page a few weeks ago under one of our posts, and I told her that I was going to give her all the credit and I was going to share that list with you guys, because I'm pretty sure someone, and I don't remember who it was, asked for some recommendations for some good thriller books. So Christy's got some great recommendations for us. I'm going to tell you those, and then I'm going to tell you which two I am thinking will be my book for my genre that I rarely read. Okay, so she recommended Paula Hawkins' Girl on the Train, which I know, or I'm pretty sure that's the one that's been made into a movie recently, and then her other book, Into the Water. Those are both by Paula Hawkins. All right, and then Noah Hawley, Before the Fall. Sherry LaPena, Lapena is how you spell her last name. And that book is called The Couple Next Door. And then one more recommendation from Christy, and that is K.L. Slater, Liar. Very simple title, pretty easy to remember. Okay, so those four are ones that she recommended. And I tell you what, I will copy and paste this list into the comments of the video after we're done. So if any of you are wanting to look at some of those some more, you can do that by checking the comments after we get done. So the two that I am between, actually, because like I said, I think I've read thrillers before, and it's not like I've never read the genre before, but it's been a while. So I think I'm going to choose either Into the Water by Paula Hawkins or Before the Fall by Noah Hawley. And I'm leaning a little bit more toward Into the Water. So if any of you guys have read either of those books, I'd love to hear what you thought about them. All right, and then I am not sure which book I'm going to pull off my shelf that I haven't read, but I've got plenty to choose from. So I'll let you know on that one later. And for the book that I read as a kid that I either loved or hated, I actually am considering doing both. If I have time, I'll do one of each. I know Candace had mentioned reading like Babysitter's Club and like some of those books from when we were kids that were so popular. And I think that that would be a lot of fun. I think that we might all be disappointed though. I can't remember who said that. I think another friend of mine said that oh, we might be really disappointed if we read them again. Or no, Candace mentioned going back and reading the Nancy Drew books again, which I think would be great because I don't think Nancy Drew was as cheesy as Babysitter's Club, right? I don't know, I don't remember. Anyway, but the one that I definitely am gonna do is I'm gonna go with the hated. Okay, so when I was in 8th grade, we were required to read The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. And in my opinion, that was too young to have to read Hemingway. I absolutely loathed that book. And I'm really, really hoping and thinking that I'm going to like it a lot more now as an adult. So we'll see. I'll let you guys know. But that was, well, I'll come back and let you know if I agree with my thought that that was just too young to have kids read Hemingway, and we'll see. So, Old Man and the Sea. Thank you. See, she agreed. Yeah, it was a terrible time to read it. All right. So I hope that I'm going to love it now. I really think that I will. So those are some of my plans. And all right, if any of you guys have any books that you've been reading that you're really enjoying that you want to mention, go right ahead and do that in the comments. If you are looking for a book, comment away. What are you looking for? Maybe we have something that we can help you with. See, I've got another agree. Too young for Ernest Hemingway, 8th grade. Thank you. See, I knew I wasn't just a crazy young kid. All right. And also, I welcome book selfies, okay? Who's brave enough to take a selfie with the book they're reading? Haha. Let's see who can do that. All right, so while I'm waiting for you guys, if anybody has any comments, so I'm going to give it a few more minutes. I'm trying to keep our book clubs to right at 30 minutes or a little less because I know we're all busy. And even if you're catching this later, you're probably not going to have more than 30 minutes to sit down and watch me ramble. Really, you probably don't have that much time to listen to me ramble. But anyway, we will keep it to no more than 30 minutes for sure each month. And while I'm waiting to see if any of you guys have any other comments, I'm going to go ahead and read to you guys the book reviews. Oh yes, hold on. Candace said that she just finished The Other Einstein, and it was pretty good. Made me want to go learn more about Einstein's life. And this is a book in our group, in our book challenge, summer book challenge group. And in some of those posts, we've been having some little conversations about this book. And so basically this book is about Einstein's wife, which I think is so cool. And I was telling her that, I guess it's been a year or two ago, I read a book called Shakespeare's Wife, and it was very interesting. It was a lot of speculation about what William Shakespeare's wife was like because we're not even really 100% sure who she was. And as those of you who are big fans of William Shakespeare know, we're not even sure if William Shakespeare was one man or multiple people or existed at all as William Shakespeare, or, you know, there's a lot of debate on that. I won't get into all that because, you know, that's a whole English department lively discussion that could happen there. Personally, I think that he was one man and maybe he had some help, but that's my opinion. But the book, Shakespeare's Wife, was very interesting, and the only difficult thing about that book was pulling out the speculation from the fact, but it was very interesting. It was eye-opening to that time period, and it kind of made me stop and think about what his wife could have gone through, you know, if he was this one guy who did all these things and he went off away from the family and to write and to work at the theater and stuff like that. And just even at the take it away from him and from her, thinking about women during that time and how many of them did have to find ways to feed their family in a time period in culture where it wasn't so easy for women to actually make money. So I do have to recommend that book. There are some dry spots to it and all of that, but it was pretty cool. Yeah, exactly. Candace is saying that that's how this one was too, the one that she read about the other Einstein. And it's hard to figure out what was fact and what wasn't, and then it almost made you not like Albert Einstein. Same with William Shakespeare, kind of made you not wonder a little bit about him. So that's pretty cool. Yes, and I have heard that The Glass Castle is very interesting. I've had several people say that they've read that, and it's an interesting read, is what I'm getting from everyone. It's very different. This girl wrote about her life growing up, and it was very different from your traditional, typical growing up. So yes, in the last few minutes here, show Finding the Light by Kelsey Atkins is a YA fantasy that will keep teens and adults alike flipping the pages as their imaginations become fueled by the author's imagery, character building, and action. Kaya, which I need to ask her if I'm saying her character's name right, but I'm going to say Kaya for now and hope that I'm being right. Kaya may seem like a typical teenager, but the dreams that have ruled her slumber for years make her anything but ordinary. On the day her dreams invade the reality surrounding her, she takes a step toward discovering just how extraordinary she is. The light within Kaya reveals great secrets, powers, and possibilities as it also draws to her a handsome stranger. She has no idea the adventures and perils that await her once she takes Zach's hand. They embark together on an epic battle of light versus darkness. Hold on to your comfy reading chair as the pace quickens and the action ramps up in the first book in the Finding the Light series. Okay, and then The Beauty Thief by Rachel Ritchie spins the tale of Princess, and I know I'm going to say this name wrong, and I'm going to have to ask her how she pronounces it. Caton, I'm just going to say it that way. A deeply gorgeous young woman, both inside and out. Just before her wedding, the princess has both types of beauty stolen from her. Can her prince remember his love for her despite the deep changes? Can they find a way to retrieve the beauty that matters most before it's too late? And one thing that I didn't put in my review of The Beauty Thief, but I was thinking about it and contemplating on it later, is the prince really goes through a moral dilemma at one point, and it's a very interesting moral dilemma that I don't know that I've really seen in any books that deal with knights or soldiers. So I'm not going to say any more about that, but I found that interesting, and I appreciated it. And I would love to hear what you think about that if you do get a chance to read The Beauty Thief. Okay, so I'm going to close out for this month, but I want to thank all of you guys who joined me live, and for those of you who are going to watch this later, and feel free to keep the comments coming if you have any requests for recommendations for something to read, or if you want to share a book selfie with us, go right ahead in the comments. And I will also put in the comments, I'll copy this list of thrillers that Christy Decker shared with us before. So thank you guys for joining us, and I hope you have a great night and happy reading.